Number line and inequalities. If we begin with a number line, we can really quickly see the range of values that that number line represents. So here's an example. Let's write the inequality and the interval notation for all the numbers represented in this number line. So we see that we have an open dot here, and then the red line is representing all the numbers to the left of that, on and on and on, all the way over towards negative infinity. So if we were to start with an inequality, the letter we're going to use in this case is x. It could be any letter, but I'm going to use the letter x. I'm saying x can be all the numbers on this red line. So x can be anything that is less than -1. Because x could be -2, it could be -4, it could be negative 100,025.6. It could be anything to the left of -1. And in interval notation, we saw how to do this in the previous video. We'd go from the most negative value, which is negative infinity, and that gets a round bracket, all the way up to -1, also with a round bracket. But ranges of numbers can be sandwiched by two endpoints. So far we've seen ranges that go on towards negative infinity or on towards positive infinity, but there's no reason why that range can't also just end. So for example, we're going to write the inequality for this number line here. And we have all the numbers, it's representing all the numbers from -2 on the left up to +4. So all the numbers between those two values. And we're asked to write the inequality for this number line. So let's look at the inequalities that are represented here. Well, for starter, x, all the numbers that are represented here, it's greater than -2. X is greater than -2. It starts here with that open dot and goes to the right. And then over here at 4, we know that all the values are to the left of 4. So x is less than or equal to 4, and equal to because it's a closed dot. So we actually have two ranges. X is greater than -2, and it's less than 4. But there's actually a really efficient way to write this, where we sandwich x between the two endpoints. So if we write -2 and then is less than x, or that would also say that x is greater than -2, and then we say, well, x is also less than or equal to 4, what we've done is we've sort of sandwiched x between these two inequalities that show on the left it's bigger than -2, and on the right it's less than or equal to 4. So this is actually the best way to write an inequality when a region of values is connected. Like we have above. These two inequalities, one going to the right that way and the other going to the left this way, they're connected together, so we can write them as one inequality with x sandwiched between the ends. We can do the same thing with interval notation, and it's actually really nice. Interval notation comes so smoothly from the number line, because really all we do is we write the leftmost value, which in this case is -2, and the rightmost value, so comma 4, and then we put the proper brackets on each end. So on the left end, -2 is not included, so it's round, and on the right side, 4 is included, so you put a square bracket. And that represents basically x as being sandwiched between those two values. So -2 on the left, all the way ending at 4 on the right. In this last example here, I want to show you how we have to deal with ranges of values that are separated on the number line. So write the inequality and interval notation for this number line. So you see that we actually have two regions, one over here where the numbers go to the left of -4 and one over here where the numbers go to the right of 4. So we'll use x to represent all those possible numbers. And we'll start with an inequality. So we would say that x is less than or equal to -4 because it's a closed dot. And over on the right hand side, x is greater than or equal to +4. But we're not going to sandwich these two numbers together because these two regions are not connected. The regions are not connected. So don't sandwich the inequalities. We only want to do that when it's a region that's sandwiched on each end by an endpoint. This has two different regions in it, so we don't sandwich the inequalities together. So our answer would just be x is less than or equal to -4, or x is greater than or equal to 4. So you just write x is the first inequality or x is the other inequality. And now in interval notation, we also have two separate regions because there's two different endpoints over here. So we have -infinity up to -4, and then we also have 4 up to +infinity. Those are two separate regions. So in interval notation, we would write that as -infinity, comma, -4 with a square bracket, or, and you could use or the other thing we can do is actually a union symbol, which is just a big U, and then 4 to infinity. And this U, called the union, just shows that it's the combination. It's like saying and or. It's just the combination of those two intervals.